Capitol, they're scheming in the night, selling out our freedoms for a pocket full of spite. From the border to the heartland, the wolves are at the door, twisting truth and tearing down what our fathers fought before. But I'm a patriot source, standing tall and true, with a Bible in my hand and old glory flying blue. Ain't apologizing for loving this land. We'll fight the forces of evil with fire in our stand. God bless the USA, we'll never back down. Patriots for freedom, wearing that crown.
Well, today was a fun day, was it not, folks? Did you guys spend any time on social media today?
That's a heck of an intro.
Just
Well,
a few
I'm
minutes.
trying to change up the intros because Clipmaster Jake, as they were working diligently in the back office production team, they were working on creating descriptions for all 73 plus the 13 live streams that we've done since we launched the show. And one of the comments that Clipmaster Jake sent me was, "You can't believe how many times I had to listen to Patriot Dad say, well, well, well." And I was like,
I remember that.
okay, I got it. Hint taken. I need to change up the entry or the introduction. So what's up, folks? Happy Monday. It was an absolute amazing weekend in all things politics, all things social media. We've got a lot to talk about today. But for those of you guys who are new to the show, thank you for joining us. This is the Patriot Source podcast on the Patriot Source Network. And you'll notice some new design layouts that Nom de Plume kind of introduced to us last week, along with Clipmaster Jake and Guarding the Grid, are redesigning the look and the feel of this show. And one of the cool things that they created, you see that little QR code up there? Nom, today I had to take some security awareness trainings for my real job. And one of the things they told us in that security awareness training was, if you don't know where a QR code comes from, don't take a picture of it. Don't use it. Don't click it. Good news is you know where this one comes from. And
Well, I know where it goes.
We know where it goes. All it does is it takes you to our, what's it take us to?
Link tree.
Our link tree page.
It takes us to our link tree. So if you want to know where you can find all three of us, we've got SK over here on the side. This is our world famous investigator who was involved in one of the coolest exposés that we're going to talk about today. Data Republican is absolutely nuking all of the deep state, lawfare, NGO.
And Bitch You Need Soap and Azra.
And say that name again.
Bitch You Need Soap.
That's
You
right.
you always call him Bitch You Need a Shower.
That's right. The guy, the Bitch You Need Soap, these guys are just absolutely destroying the enemies of America in real time. And we're going to walk through it because I think it's important enough for this audience to have a real understanding of what's going on out there in the ecosystem, because it's hard to keep track of it all yourself. So we're going to spend some time on that. We're going to talk a little bit about the SCOTUS decision that is totally reshaping the electoral map and what that looks like. We'll hit on that real quick because there are some new numbers in. Do you guys remember a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about the Virginia election, and I basically was like, yeah, Virginia is successful and they're able to somehow pull off this violation of their state constitution. It's ultimately going to end up being a wash. Republicans get like 10 seats, Democrats take 11 back. Well, that's not the case anymore. No, that is not the case at all anymore. So
hold on. Two things. Yeah. Number one, I'm being corrected. It doesn't take you to Linktree. It takes you to patriotsource.net. Also, is that the one I got? Or did I get .com? I don't remember. But that's where it goes. But number two, did you see I added SCOTUS, a thing in Dropbox about SCOTUS because they issued a new opinion today on the redistricting, and Alito is fed up with Jackson. It's great.
Yep.
I don't
Most
have any
people don't.
details on that, so you may have to lead that part of the discussion. And probably my favorite part of the weekend. I know I can't help it. I know you guys are sick of talking about this, and I know that we promised you we were going to do deep dive investigative stuff, and we will. We'll spend most of the time at the front end of the show, but we have got to get to the crash out that is happening on social media. The Laura Loomer, Candace Owens saga. Candace Owens is just getting absolutely destroyed. But I don't know if you guys saw this, but the fake and gay ass Black Pill Wanna Be America First crowd is trying to start a third party, and it's not going very well for them at all. We're going to spend some time talking about that. And then I found the clip that I think is probably one of the most important clips that you're going to watch from our dear friend, Jordan Peterson. Does anyone know what happened to Jordan Peterson? Where did he go? Is he just taking some time off or something?
Well, he has like some mold toxicity, I think, and it was flaring up at one point in time, but that's been like a long time ago, and he was taking time off for that. But again, that was a long time ago, so I don't know.
And can I just say, the amazing Torah, thank you so much for recognizing the econ lesson I tried to share with you guys on Friday. I know economics is so boring, but it's so important. Unfortunately, we're probably not going to be doing any econ tonight. But I promise you, I will insert that into the show as it comes up. That was, I went back and listened to that whole portion of the show last week, and I was like, damn, that was pretty good. It was really good. And I want to clip it and I want to share it because it was that important for people to understand how the globalists are using gas prices literally to inflict as much pain on the American population as they possibly can right now. But
I'm
for
really
those of you
sorry. I'm really sorry I missed it.
you were here for it, SK.
That doesn't mean I didn't miss it.
I know. Not what were you going to say?
Well, I mean, if we're going to get to it, maybe we can talk about it later. But I mean,
I don't think we're going to get to it today.
Okay, everybody that hates Trump and is fighting on the side of the globalists and the central bankers and, you know, Lloyds of London and all those folks, which is every Democrat and most of the Republican Party, every single one of them knows that Trump, or they believe Trump is on a very, very short timeline, and they think that Iran can just run out the clock. Is what they're hoping for.
Yep. That's exactly.
Oh, right. By the way, I don't know you just put this up here, but yes, in Ohio, tomorrow is your primary. And I found that out this weekend when I was up in Ohio, because my old voting precinct had their flag up, which was, we were like, oh, is there an election? Turns out there is a primary tomorrow.
It's Super Tuesday tomorrow, May 5th. That's right. Jennifer Lynn. So have I heard anything about Vivek? Yeah, of course. Everyone's heard everything about Vivek. I know a few people that are not going to vote for him just because of DeWine's endorsement. Look, you have to understand, particularly in local and state politics, it is a game of I want to be around whoever's winning at the moment so that I can appear as though I have some influence on the decision. All of these politicians, particularly these career politicians, they are going to go whatever direction the winds are blowing. So Mike DeWine and Vivek Ramaswamy have virtually nothing in common whatsoever at all. Mike DeWine is a slime ball. He is a scumbag. He has betrayed the people of Ohio over and over and over and over again. And look, you may have some concerns with Vivek, and I think everybody does. But the problem is there isn't anybody else in the state of Ohio that even has a chance to win. And the last thing that you want to do is hand the reins over to whatever that doctor's name is, Amy Acton. Do you remember who Amy Acton is? Amy Acton would basically be like re-electing Mike DeWine for a third term. Amy Acton is
worse,
far worse, because she's a leftist radical Democrat.
Oh, yeah. Every single thing that DeWine did during COVID to lock the state down came directly from Amy Acton. You remember, she was the Fauci in Ohio. That's right. Who she was. That's right. And interesting. So my brother-in-law, Mrs. Nam's brother, used to work very, very high up in Republican and state of Ohio state government. He was the chief of staff and deputy director of the Department of Commerce, but chief of staff under Kasich. And so he's still connected very tightly into politics out there. And we were talking about all the fraud that's popping out, which, by the way, SK, bro, yes, we've been talking about all the Somalis in Columbus, northern Columbus, specifically. We've talked about this over and over and over again. There are thousands and tens of thousands of Somalis that were dumped there in the late 1990s by Bill Clinton, and everywhere you see large groups of Somalis, you see fraud. That's just a tautological fact. I'm sorry, you may not like it. It's not racist. It's just true. And what will happen in the state of Ohio if you don't pull the lever for Vivek Ramaswamy is it all just disappears, right? You're going to get Amy Acton, and the entire state government will just pretend like they don't know anything about billions of dollars of fraud running out of the state. They just exactly same thing in Minnesota. Yeah, that's what's going to happen.
That's right. So one last.
I feel like we need they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs
in
song.
Springfield.
Yeah, I feel like we need that song. And also, GR Patriot called you nub de plume.
I know they did. They were doing that last week.
So one last point for Jenny Lynn. Who's the alternative on the Republican side? I mean, the only other candidate that I even know his name is this Casey Polch or Pollock or whatever the hell his name is. Look, I tried to listen to him. I tried to spend some time investigating this guy, and I guess the only way I can describe him is he is like a 40-something-year-old groyper. That's what he is. He is a guy that was courting the support of Nick Fuentes and his racist, sexist, disgusting, anti-Zionist, almost Nazi-like followers to help prop up his campaign. Yeah. I mean, that's who he is.
We've got a segment on that too, I think, coming up tonight.
We're going to spend some time on that. So Patriot Dad, who is still in Ohio, has not changed my address yet, will be voting for Vivek Ramaswamy. I will. You can vote for whoever you want, but that's who I'm voting for in the primary tomorrow. All right.
You're not good at this. I fill out my sample ballot.
They want to see the nut. It's kind of gross, dude.
You don't want to get it taken down.
Yeah, we don't want to see her. Is it still like bandaged up?
Well, yeah, it's bandaged up now, but I mean, I still have photos of it. It's pretty gruesome.
Oh,
I mean,
it's pretty gross, but it's pretty.
Show them the X-ray. Show them the X-ray again.
Well, we showed the X-ray last week.
Okay. Will we get this video taken down?
Let's do a poll. Are we getting it taken down? No.
No, I'm saying if you show the actual photograph of it actually after they stitched it up, do you think we'll get it? I don't think we'll get it taken down. I think we'll be.
I have no idea. I don't know what the rules are here. I'm used to TikTok where you have to act like you're in kindergarten.
Let's take a poll. Does anybody want to see the gruesome lopping off of the tip of the finger? Do you want to see the unbandaged photo? Because I've got one. I've got some, but I'm not interested. I've seen my friend's GR Patriot. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Okay, yeah. So I'll just say this. I've seen it. It's pretty gross. I showed it to both my kids because they wanted to see it, and they both were like, yeah, I wish I hadn't seen that.
It's not that gross, but again, I wanted to be an emergency room doctor, so I mean.
Of course, it's patriotic girl who's like, I want to see it. Please show it to me.
It's cool.
All right.
I mean, it's not cool. You know what I mean?
So we won't. We'll spare you guys.
I don't think it's cool that,
Sorry. Folks, if you guys want to see it, reach out to Nom de Plume directly. You can find him through the QR code, and maybe he'll share a picture of it. But we're not gonna send it out here over the airwaves for those who don't want to see it, because I mean it's basically a lopped off finger, and all of that goes into that. Yeah. All right, let's get into this. So let's do this. So I thought the best way to launch into this first topic, we're going to spend some time going over the expose that. SK, how much of a role did you play in this? Were you involved in this at all?
Hardly any at all. I literally just asked her if there was anything I could help with today, and then I just started looking stuff up and found some stuff, and she used a little bit of it in her post today, but that's about it. I wasn't involved. It was her and
but
Astra.
You're talking to her every day. So
I talk to her every day.
The frustrating thing, if I can just be a little bit transparent for a minute, there's a lot going on behind the scenes that SK knows, and she won't even share with us.
Nope. I'm loyal, you guys. I don't talk about anything. If I say I don't know what you're talking about, it's probably because I can't talk about it. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, because I can't lie. So I'm just like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, where's Guarding the Grid? Is he here? I haven't heard from him in like a day and a half. Is Guarding here?
Yeah, he's here.
Okay, he's here. Good. All right, sweet. Let's do this. Go ahead and throw this up, Nom. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back just a little bit, because this expose actually spans several days. But first, I think it's important for us to do a little bit of background on who some of these key players are. All right. So do you guys remember under the first Trump administration, there was this person, this member of the Trump administration who started writing anonymous leaks to the New York Times and others and referred to himself as anonymous. Basically, he was the guy who was leaking to the media about the inner workings of the Trump administration. Do you guys remember that? Let me. Okay, I want to actually dive into this just real quick and just kind of share with you. This will help jog some memories. So there's a guy by the name of Miles Taylor, who's an American author, a political commentator, and former government official who served in the national security roles under President George W. Bush and Donald Trump. Now, this is what's going to jog your memory. He's best known as the anonymous author of the September 2018 New York Times op-ed, and I quote, "I am part of the resistance inside the Trump administration." Do you guys remember that? Do you remember that article coming out and how much media that created? Somebody who was alleging that they were part of the Trump administration and was working as part of the resistance inside the Trump administration to slow down their progress. Okay, well, the guy who did that, his name is Miles Taylor. So Miles Taylor is the former DHS chief. Let's pull this up on the big screen. So Miles Taylor is the former DHS chief of staff, Google security executive, who launched a website called GTFO ICE. And I'm sure you know what GTFO stands for. And on this website, Data Republican was able to identify that this former Bush and Trump administration staffer, former DHS chief of staff, worked for Google as an executive at one point, basically became a traitor to the American people and what you can only argue as a seditious conspirator. One of the things that he did when he was kicked out of the Trump administration because he was fired, and then he had his clearances revoked as a result of what he was doing while he was employed by the Trump administration, he decided to go ahead and launch one of these anti-ICE tracking websites, a website that could be used to put information in so that they could notify certain people all over the country anytime ICE was moving. So Can
we just take a second and everybody pause for a minute and think about the fact that this person was the chief of staff for the Department of Homeland Security, which is where ICE, U.S. Customs and Immigration Service, Customs and Border Patrol, everything related to immigration and immigration enforcement exists under DHS. And this guy was the chief of staff, and his entire position is ICE bad, illegal immigrants good. What? Yeah. How does that happen?
Well, because he's part of the
resistance. He should have been Mayorkas's best friend, but Mayorkas didn't keep him around. George Bush did, though. This is crazy to me.
I think you're going to find out why, because the guy is a total idiot.
Wait, he left before
Biden.
Trump
he was fired in like 2018, wasn't
he? Or 19. I think it said 2017 to. It was on that screenshot I posted.
Yeah.
Hold on,
2017, 2019 is when
2019. 2017 to 2019. But he was recruited by John Kelly. He worked under John Kelly as deputy chief of staff before he became chief of staff.
Yeah.
And he's the resistance.
This guy's basically an open borders zealot pretending to be a Republican at DHS, or I don't know, being a rhino Republican at DHS. That's okay. That's all. I just wanted to
and he
make sure we didn't gloss over that.
Yeah, and he works real close with George Conway and the Lincoln Project, and I find that highly ironic considering George Conway's role in E. Jean Carroll's lawsuit against Trump.
Mm-hmm. Well, he was a never Trumper. I mean, let's just call it what it is. This guy was a never Trumper. He was one of these unelected bureaucrats that were stuck inside the Trump administration during his first term, and their sole objective was to try to slow down the progress of the Trump administration. And one of the ways he did that was through this through this article that he was writing. I'm part of the resistance inside the Trump administration. He then went on to basically just exposing the efforts that they were going to kind of thwart the misguided impulses of the Trump administration. And then I think he was publicly revealed himself as anonymous in an October 2020 article, and then went on to endorse Joe Biden, left the Republican Party in 2022. So what is this? Why does this matter? Well, So our dear friend, Data Republican, has been doing some scraping and trying to identify who are some of the people that are behind these anti-ICE websites, these websites that are designed to try to dox and identify and track movements of ICE. And what she found out is allegedly Miles Taylor, or Anonymous, the former DHS chief of staff, Google security executive, launched a website called GTFO ICE that collects your full name, email, phone number, and zip code to join an anti-ICE rapid response network, and then publishes the user information via a public API. Nam, what the heck is she talking about? What does that mean?
Well, so the problem is there's no authentication on the API. So an API is an application programming interface. It basically is just a way for anything to reach into a web application or really just any application and grab very specific data that the API allows to be accessible. This guy obviously didn't know that there's an API there. If he did, he didn't know that he needed to put authentication in front of it. Probably didn't know what sort of data was going on there. I don't know what, but basically he opened up all of the PII, which is publicly identifying information, which is bad. It's kind of sensitive information. He basically everybody that registered, he made it accessible from a public API that anybody could have scraped.
So you mean the 17,662 people that signed up to his anti-ICE website were basically publicly unmasked because of the API that he either wasn't aware was there or just didn't care?
Yes, that's what I mean.
Yeah, that's what he means. So the guy that was a former DHS chief of staff, a Google security executive, a pretty high level resistance operative inside the Trump administration, just doxed almost 18,000 radical leftists who were signing up to be part of their anti-ICE protest. The sign-up data is exposed on the public REST API. No true authentication, no rate limiting, full records, names, emails, phone numbers, zip codes, and timestamps. And she goes on to say, the man who ran the third largest federal department, 250,000 employees with a $60 billion budget, who oversaw election security architecture and led counterterrorism operations, then served as Google's head of national security policy, can't secure a sign-up form. But he does. Go ahead. Nom?
I mean, none of us should be surprised that a person at the senior executive services level at DHS, or that they don't know how to, put authentication in front of. Probably don't know what a freaking API is. Frankly, that's not what these guys do.
I know what an API is because I don't build these things, but I know how they function.
I mean, I get it, but I mean, the guy likely had AI write the code, probably launched the website, probably registered the domain, all that stuff.
That's the next post. That's the different website, because there's multiple websites he started.
Yeah, sorry, I just stole the thunder. But yeah, I mean, and I didn't read it, but I was just assuming. So what really gets me about it is not that this guy at the SES level didn't know how to develop this application and secure this information. It's that he was the one doing it in the first place, the one that he was launching this website, and that he was gathering this information, and he was creating a way to track and dox ICE agents. That's the bigger story to me, not that he leaked that he allowed all the information to be leaked. That's just stupid.
I'll be honest with you. When I first saw this story, my initial response was, did this guy run a honeypot? Because I mean, it is like epic level stupidity to create a website. And if you go back and you look, I think Data Republican has the videos throughout her thread on this, but he's literally out there on video walking people through how to sign up, how to use this form, where to put information. And he very clearly states, I am not collecting this data. We're not going to be saving this data. He wanted to give the impression that if people signed up in his anti-ICE website, that they were going to be safe. And yet 18,000 radical leftists now have all of their personal information available for anybody to see. Good. So if you go over to Blue Sky and you watch the meltdown that's happening over on Blue Sky over the last couple of days, because these people realize that all of their information is now public. Everybody can see who they are. You can find out where they work. You can find out who their employers are. You can find out who their family members are. So you now get a chance to go identify 18,000 people who were participating in a seditious conspiracy against the United States. All because a moron wanted to get involved in a color revolution. And that's what he was doing.
Yeah, and the ones who like actually wrote down death threats for the president.
That's a different website. That's the post from
That's
today.
where we're going next. All right. So I wanted to give a little bit of background here.
I'm sorry.
Right? I wanted to give a little bit of background because it's important for people to understand that this is actually an ongoing saga here. All right. So then Data Republican posted this today. And I thought this was great because earlier in the day, she basically posted and said, the best is yet to come. We are in the
worst.
Sorry, the worst is yet to come. We are in the process of notifying proper law enforcement authorities of what we found. And you're going to see why here in a second. So about 5 or 6 hours ago, she posted breaking. Former DHS chief Miles Taylor's prank site collected death threats against the president and 4,000 plus people's personal data, then exposed them through an open API. And she went on and says, I showed you 2 days ago, I showed you how Miles Taylor's GTFO ICE site exposed 17,000 plus people's data on an open API. That site halted signups and is still under construction. By the way, that site's gone now. They removed it. But Taylor's organization, defiance.org, didn't just build one leaky site. They built 2 on the same server. So the site undotrump.org launched April 1st, 2026 as an April Fool's joke, which collects names, emails, and political messages from people signing up for fictional removal parties at government buildings. The White House ballroom, the Kennedy Center, the DOJ battleship. What do they mean by removal parties, SK? Were they literally planning to go into these buildings and take his name literally off the structures?
Well, yes. What they were trying to assert is that they were going to, that they were going to force the administration to take them down, and they were going to have these parties where everybody could gather to watch Trump's name be taken off the Kennedy Center and to take all these things down.
Did you hear what they called it? Did you guys see the video of Miles Taylor talking about this and what he called the removal? After the April Fool's joke and all this stuff, he called it Trump's graffiti on our democracy, because apparently the Kennedy Center is democracy, and Trump changing the name of it. So, I mean, Robert Byrd putting his name on literally everything in the state of West Virginia, not an attack on democracy. No, but Martin Luther King having his name on, I don't know, at least one street in almost every major city, not graffiti on our democracy. But President Trump putting his name on things, definitely graffiti on our democracy. Definitely.
Well, she goes on here and says 4,000 plus sign up records, 3,300 plus unique people, same vulnerability, same MPI, same zero authentication. And this one,
fun fact, if you write bad code or you use bad code and you don't know it's there, you're probably going to reuse it over and over and over again.
Yeah, because you think you wrote it right the first time.
Because this guy actually wrote the code using AI.
Well, AI wrote it. And for those of you that don't know, as someone who, the co-founder of the company that we've launched, my co-founder is a 30-year developer and now AI guy. AI code is not good, by the way. It is riddled with problems. It's a good starting point, but if that's where you end, you're in big freaking trouble. I'll tell you that right now, as Miles Taylor's finding out.
I mean, it's a good way to produce a lot of data quickly, but you had damn well better spend a lot of time making sure it's right.
Yeah.
Or else you're going to have problems like this, where you expose 4,000 people's or 3,300 unique people to the public. And if you happen to be one of the people who decided to use this April Fool's Day joke website to issue threats of death against the president of the United States, it's probably not a very good time for you. So the man who was deputy chief of staff for the department that houses the Secret Service couldn't secure a sign-up form again. As always, patience as I pull this together. So there's a video here. I don't think we need to watch it necessarily, but here's a video of Miles himself.
I'd play it. That's the one where he uses the graffiti on democracy.
Okay, let's play this real quick then.
The daily, like the AI.
Here we go.
Yeah, pretty great. And look, I know that video is kind of AI slop, But I think we can kind of excuse it here because of the kind of AI slop that Donald Trump posts on the daily, like the AI video of his presidential library that if you haven't seen, I'll play at the end here. And B, because the whole thing is a viral April Fool's joke to draw in support for an anti-Trump nonprofit. When you actually go to the website, you can click and watch the video. Then you scroll down and it says, oh, pick your removal party to attend. You can attend the White House ballroom name removal on January 21st, 2029, the Kennedy Memorial, the Department of Justice. And then
can I just pause this real quick? Anyone else notice how excited and proud this guy is of the work that he did? I mean, he is like,
well, when you find out everything he's connected to, it'll all make sense.
Hold on. Before you play that again, I have a question. If we bring this up to full screen, do you guys notice the name at the chyron at the bottom where it says Kenny Hess? Is that really Miles Taylor talking, or is this somebody? Because you see, it says Kenny Hess right above.
Yeah, I don't think that's Miles Taylor. I saw a picture of Miles Taylor, and he is like kind of what you would expect one of these turncoat rhino.
So this is somebody, probably some rabid leftist who actually is excited that this website is now out there, but he doesn't realize that it was Miles Taylor who was responsible for it, and then that all of his PII is now in Data Republicans AI, which is going to be a lot of fun, because what she's going to do with that,
she's already done it. She said what she was going to do with it. She sent it to law enforcement. Oh, but there's more. Let's finish this real quick, and I want to touch on a couple more of her posts real quick.
When you click on reserve your spot, you can actually enter information like your name, email, and a message, which is what you see ticking across the top when you get here. But then the further you scroll down, you get this prompt: April Fools. You can't sign up to take Trump's name down yet, but you don't have to wait until January 21st, 2029. The joke's on him. You can undo Trump's vandalism of our democracy today, which subsequently leads you to defiance.org. The organization. Yeah, pretty great.
All right. So then she goes on. There's let's see if I can find the one that's really, here's the joke. UndoTrump.org launched on April Fool's Day, 2026. Taylor's own Substacks admitted these removal parties aren't real. The data collected was real, though. 4,000 plus signups over 25 days, names, emails, political messages, no security. Many of the messages did not indicate knowledge that the site was a prank. Many suggested they were government employees, which is one reason we took so long to report on this. We were giving the data through all the channels we knew of. And you can see right here, the message. I went to DC for the Women's March, and I will be there January 20, 2029, when we inaugurate the president who will remove the offensive Trump trash. And there's one down here where it talks about basically just death threats. Taylor signed up for his own site as user number 5. User number 3 is Xander Schultz, his Defiance.org co-founder. The other pre-launch signups are test users. They knew exactly what this site collected. They built it. And if you go through here and you look through these screenshots of the code, she's got grabs of the messages that people were sending.
Look at those right there.
Like this one. I will grape Trump and those effing Epstein people. This is important to me because he's not a real president. He's an imposter who rather rape, kill, and eat babies and children. He needs to be executed publicly and on live television.
This, by the way, folks, this is the exact same language we just watched that dude last week try to use to justify another assassination. This is fucking dangerous. This is a problem. It's a very serious problem. And, every single one of these people that left those messages, they need to be charged. I'm not even investigated. They need to be charged.
Well, what's worse, if you caught what I said up here at the top, many suggested they were government employees.
Government employees, why are you surprised? A whole lot of government employees went to work at nonprofits when they left the administration, and they're the ones working on the color revolution. So, but keep going on this because it gets good.
Okay. So Miles Taylor was DHS Deputy Chief of Staff. The department houses the United States Secret Service, the agency that investigates threats against the president. He built the site that collected those threats and apparently never reported them. And then she tagged Eagle Ed Martin and Harmeet Dillon, which is just great. Foreign nationals from 13 countries signed up. Canada, Germany, UK, France, Brazil, India, Australia, Bhutan, and more, including a Bhutan.gov email.
I'm wondering if some of Candace's bots didn't get redirected over there.
Yeah, probably. For a campaign targeting U.S. federal buildings on an unregistered nonprofit open API. This is the same Miles Taylor who put up billboards in solidarity with the seditious six. Oh, look, there you are, Lisa. Or there you are, SK. You and Lisa right there. Credit to Lisa Logan and SK for finding this. They also found a lot more about Defiance.org's connections to the larger Color Revolution network. Needless to say, they're deeply involved. Conclusion. Miles Taylor put out a video walking through the site, shows you exactly how to enter your name and email, and calls it a viral April Fool's joke to draw in support for the anti-Trump nonprofit. 4,000 people took the bait. Their data landed in an unsecured database with death threats against the president. 2 sites, 1 server, 0 security, federal criminal exposure. The man who ran Homeland Security couldn't secure a sign-up form twice. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is how you dismantle the Color Revolution. Right here.
Oh, wait, go down one more. Go down just because there's that right there. Right before Miles Taylor joined the Trump administration, he was a Penn Kimball Democracy Forum Fellow at NED, National Endowment for Democracies. Oh, shocker.
Of course he was.
And what's interesting is that this fellowship program required applicants to have extensive experience in foreign policy, international affairs, or national security. Basically, it's the kind of credential that lets someone get close to power in a republic administration while still carrying the worldview of saving democracy crowd with them. I mean, yeah, this guy is everything. Everything that should have cost him his security clearance and his job, actually.
And now he has just exposed over 20,000 people's names and personal information to federal law enforcement authorities.
Good. There's a lot of dumb people out there, by the way. Like a lot of really dumb people out there.
Look, folks, I'm just going to give you a tip. If you enjoy being engaged in the political, just the tip, not the tip of my finger, but just a helpful hint, if you will. It's probably not a good idea for you to be putting your personal information in anything political at all, ever. Because here's the thing. If politicians want to get a hold of you, if they want to campaign to you, if they want to poll you, they're going to do it through the voting registration information they obtain. They can get a hold of you that way. Outside of that, this is what you're potentially opening yourself up to. And if you think it's a good idea to participate in Color Revolution seditious activity, you definitely don't want to put your name on any of it. Because now there's over 20,000 people whose personal information has just been handed over to federal law enforcement.
But you guys totally just glossed over the fact that Defiance.org is who is sponsoring those billboards that were posted everywhere after the Seditious Six came out with their video. It's almost like they're all working together for the same purpose, because they are.
Yeah, I mean, yes, you're right. And we didn't intend to gloss it over. It's, I mean, it's a tautological fact. I mean, we should have all I think we know going into this all that we understand that those guys are all working together, every one of them. And they don't even have to communicate all that much.
No, because they know they all are working towards the same objective, which is stop the Trump administration using any means necessary. If you can prosecute people, do it. If you can bankrupt them, even better. If you can threaten their lives and the lives of their family, that's part of the objective too. Because remember, the goal is control. It's to literally control every aspect of your life through fear, intimidation, social media campaigns, influence operations, psychological operations, and color revolutionary tactics like this. But the good news is it's not working. It's not working. Like, did you guys see, you guys saw, we talked about this a little bit last week. We talked about the SCOTUS ruling on the Louisiana case. You guys remember Louisiana? There was a lawsuit against the Louisiana congressional map because Louisiana went and they redrew their maps a couple years ago with specific instructions to create a second race-based legislative district. And that was challenged in the court as racist because, hello, you can't base a district purely on race. I didn't know this. Nam SK, did you guys know this? That it is perfectly legal for state legislatures to gerrymander the crap out of a district for the stated purpose of protecting their political majority, not only in Congress or in the state house. Perfectly legal if it's based on party affiliation, not on race.
Right, because that would be racist.
That's
racist.
Base
it on race. That's just
right,
guys. It's 2026. I mean, do we want segregation? I mean, I know Democrats actually do want segregation. I mean, that's all they do is segregate people up into tiny little boxes, and you have to stay in your little box, and you're not allowed to cross out of your box. If you do, you're an Uncle Tom and all those things. But it's just racist. It's racist to say, listen, we need a district for just these black and brown people. That's pretty racist. That's pretty freaking racist. That's very racist, actually.
Like, it's perfectly okay for them to say, I'm going to gerrymander the crap out of this because I want Republicans to maintain control, but you can't do it because you want more black representation. You just can't. Yep. It's racist. Well, anyway, so Supreme Court ruled, they struck that down. The problem, though, that Louisiana was having is that it actually takes a little while for those rulings to be written, those decisions to be published. I think the standard turnaround time is somewhere like 30 to 45 days. And what the state of Louisiana needed them to do is to move things along a little bit faster so that they could actually get down to the business of redrawing their districts, because Republicans want to take another seat, and they're going to. So shockingly, the Supreme Court earlier this morning issued a ruling saying, we're going to go ahead and write our opinion now, and then just a few hours later, publish their opinion. And they did it specifically for the purpose of giving the state of Louisiana the opportunity to move as fast as they could to redraw their districts. So there's a couple of, and I don't think we need to show them. SK, you look like you're getting
well, Alito, like, you can tell he's sick and tired of Jackson. He calls her out several times in this opinion that was issued today. I mean, like, it literally says, the dissent would require that the 2026 congressional elections in Louisiana be held under a map that has been held to be unconstitutional. And then there's a star by it. And then it says that constitutional question was argued in conference nearly 7 months ago.
Yeah, that's right. Well, Jackson loves to do that. She loves to slow roll things so that they can continue their scam on the American people. Like, that's what happened with the Dobbs decision. They had that decision for months, but the dissent held on to their portion of the decision for like 7 months.
And he addresses that. He goes on, well, also, he said, nor does the dissent assert that it is not feasible for the elections to be held under such a map. Instead, the dissent offers 2 reasons for its proposed course of action. One is trivial at best. The other is baseless and insulting. Like, straight at Jackson.
She is baseless and insulting. I mean, she is.
Yeah, it's so funny. He even calls her out by name. He said the second reason offered by the dissent is that we should allow the 32-day period to run out in order to, quote, avoid the appearance of partiality. And then he says, post at 3, opinion of Jackson. But the dissent does not explain why its insistence on unthinking compliance with Rule 45.3's default rule does not create the appearance of partiality by running out the clock on behalf of those who may find it politically advantageous to have the election occur under the unconstitutional map.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so essentially what she was trying to do is run out the clock so that they couldn't actually have a primary under the new map. And if you can't have a primary, can't hold a primary, you can't hold a general election under the new map.
And it gets better. He says the dissent goes on to claim that our decision represents an unprincipled use of power. It says, see post at 4. It says, and just like that, those principles give way to power. He says, that is a groundless and utterly irresponsible charge. What principle has the court violated? The principle that Rule 45.3's 32-day default period should never be shortened, even when there is good reason to do so? The principle that we should never take any action that might unjustifiably be criticized as partisan? like question mark. Like he's just going after her. And then at the end it says the dissent accuses the court of unshackling itself from constraints. It is the dissent's rhetoric that lacks restraint.
This man is a national treasure outside of Clarence Thomas. I hear that there's some rumors that he may be planning to retire, and I hope to God he doesn't, because he's a national treasure.
Well, I mean, listen, it's worth mentioning that Supreme Court justices do not openly attack each other like this. Like, I don't think ever. And this is an open like bitch slap, saying, "Bitch, you are stupid."
She is an actual moron. How did she become a Supreme Court justice? How? How? Her opinions,
well, we know.
It looks like she uses AI to write them.
Yep. Well, Paul Prater nailed it. The dissent is a moron.
Yes.
Yeah. Love it. The dissent is a moron. So anyway, the Supreme Court is not happy with the dissent, because it's pretty obvious that they're trying to slow things down, just like everything else that the radical left is doing to try to stop Trump. It's all about slowing him down and running out the clock. And it's not working. So I do need to correct the record, though, because last week when we talked about this, I made the statement that if all things are even and all of the attempts to try to redistrict are successful, you're basically going to have a 1-seat majority as it relates to redistricting in favor of the Democrats. All right. So Republicans were going to pick up 10, Democrats were going to change 11. So it's basically a wash. Well, that is not true anymore. That is not the case at all anymore, because what this LA or Louisiana decision did, not only does it allow now Republican states in the South to take a look at their maps and say, do we need to redistrict? Were we kind of coerced? Did we have our arm twisted to create districts for the purpose of racial gerrymandering? And the answer to that question is yes. Almost all of you did. If you remember, after all of the civil rights legislations and the activities of the Department of Justice and the DOJ coming in, and they were writing all these opinions, and they were basically giving states requirements to racially gerrymander. Well, on top of that, now they also get to look at other states that may be violating the spirit of this ruling, who are in the process of racially gerrymandering, like the state of Illinois, for example.
Like states that have 0 Republican representation.
That's right.
I mean, that's taxation without representation. When your state's gerrymandered to the point that you don't have any representation from the other party. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to have to be a different ruling, because, I mean, fun fact, the New England states, there aren't any black people. They're like that. They're all white. That is white. That is lily white liberals.
And it's perfectly legal for them to gerrymander based on political partisanship. Perfectly legal. And
you guys all remember, like, the reason California went and did their Prop whatever numbers so that they could gerrymander their states. They said they were doing it in response to Texas, who they were saying Texas was illegally gerrymandering their state. No, Texas was reacting to this lawsuit, to this case, this Louisiana case, because they could read.
No, Texas was responding specifically to a Department of Justice order to redistrict because of racial gerrymandering. The DOJ came in and said, you have to fix this.
And
because of this case.
There's more. There's multiple cases. Florida had one too. Sometime last year, Florida Supreme Court ruled on Florida's map because they had a whole blue district that went from one major city. They got part of one major city, and then it went 213 or 18 miles down. It made like this skinny thing so it could get the city center of another major city. I think it was Jackson to somewhere else. I don't remember because it was last year. But Florida Supreme Court ruled that was unconstitutional because they were doing it so that they could get as many black people into the district as they possibly could. And they said, you can't do that. That's racial discrimination. You cannot do that. And so they had to redraw Florida's map because of that. So there were several states that were saying, like, these districts are illegal. They are not constitutional. You can't do this. And state Supreme Courts were already ruling on it before the actual Supreme Court got a hold of it.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. So multiple cases. I think I knew that there are multiple cases, but the whole reason Texas started this was for this exact reason. They had a majority minority district that was forced on them, and it turns out that's actually a violation of the spirit of the Voting Rights Act.
Shocker.
Yeah,
it's illegal.
Yeah, and
just like Kyle says, the South is so racist, we should all be forced to redistrict.
Exactly.
Yes.
And what's crazy is if you look at all of this, and people talk about the party switch. Everybody on TikTok that debates on the left wants to say there was a party switch. If you go back and look, you can go back to the Civil Rights Act and go look at the votes. Go look at what party was voting for the Civil Rights Act and what party was voting against it. The Democrats were voting against it. There has been no party switch. The Democrats are the same people. They just put on different masks and they tell different stories and they pretend to be inclusive and in favor of all of these things, when in all actuality, all they care about is using people for their race.
That's right.
Right. If you want to test the theory that there is a party switch, be a black or brown skinned person and tell a Democrat you're a Republican. And tell me how they react to that.
Or tell them you're Native American. That happens to me frequently when these people call you racist and all these things. And I'm like, I'm Native American. And then they become actual racists in real time. They crash out.
Well, it's not only Democrats. And I'm going to show you guys later some examples of what the woke Reich is looking like. The Groyper group. These are some of the most violently racist, disgusting people I've ever met. And we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. Last thing I want to add here. So I do need to correct the record. It is no longer a +1 split in the redistricting wars, because Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis, who, by the way, is a pretty amazing governor. That guy's amazing. What he's done in that state is absolutely incredible. He just signed into law a new district map, which is basically going to give the Republicans another 4 seats and almost fully wipe out the Democrats. But here's what the new count looks like. If you just look at nothing but states that have already passed their seats, you've got a +5 to 7, right? So you've got 5 for Texas, 4 for Florida, 1 for Ohio, 1 for North Carolina, and then you've got Democrats with 5. There's 3 states that their decisions are being appealed right now. You've got Missouri, Utah, and Virginia, which we know about. And then you have 3 more states that have called special sessions: Louisiana, Alabama, and Tennessee. So the total appealed maps, if the appealed maps passes, you've got Republicans with 5 to 7 seats. If the appealed maps get struck down, you've got, put that back up real quick, you've got Republicans 9 to 11 seats. So even if Virginia and the other, I think Connecticut, end up successfully changing their map, you still have Republicans picking up another 5 to 7 seats. And I'll be honest with you, I'll be surprised if the Virginia Supreme Court decides to allow the Democrats to violate their constitution as deeply and as aggressively as they are. I think that might actually turn out.
What is South Africa's currency? What is ZAR?
That's it. South African currency.
I know, but what's it called? What's ZAR?
I don't know. Maybe the Errol Lowenthal. Actually, Errol's been around before. Yeah. So 422, I'm assuming that's AM in South Africa. They cheat. That's the only way they can win. We have 1 day of voting with ID registration. I mean, that's a no-brainer. Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense.
Thank you. And that's a 35 ZAR super chat. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you for that. Yeah. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Yeah.
Yep.
Pass the SAVE Act.
Well, and if you pass the SAVE Act, it's going to be even worse. So there's been some analysis, and I'll see if I can pull this in for Wednesday, some analysis that's been done. And I mean, you've got entire states that are going to flip, like New Mexico, totally going to flip if you pass the SAVE Act. There's a reason why John Thune and these closet color revolutionary Republicans are doing everything they can to run out the clock on the SAVE Act, because if the SAVE Act passes and these redistricting maps go through, the Democrats may never see legislative control in the House of Representatives, at least in our lifetime. It may be that bad for them, and they know it. And the last thing that they want is Donald Trump to complete his term in office, and then to be able to hand over the reins to whoever his successor is, whether that be JD Vance, whether that be Marco Rubio. I'm now starting to hear some rumors that Pete Hegseth is starting to impress a lot of people. But the absolute last thing the left can afford is for Donald Trump to finish his full term. They can't let it happen. That's why you saw another potential assassination attempt today. Did you guys see that? Nam, you were talking about that earlier. Did you see it? Actually, I think this one was actually targeted JD Vance, if I'm not mistaken, because I think it was in the vicinity of his vehicle that was moving.
So what I find interesting, I actually have a video of it from the Secret Service. They're explaining what happened, and I grabbed this at, I don't know, probably 7:30 Central, so an hour before we went live, and we still don't have an identity on this shooter.
That's weird.
Is always very telling.
Well, that doesn't make sense to me. There's a reason. I mean, there's a reason why whatever his name, Cole, everybody saw that happen. Cole Allen. I guess I'm curious. I'm going to dig into this a little. I want to know why they released everything that on him as quickly as they did. But this guy, it's like mum's the word. Like, you're not allowed to know. Well,
because I mean, they had to stop the White House Correspondents' Center, so you're gonna get the info on it.
Yeah.
But I've got the video from Secret Service. Let's listen to it.
Afternoon, our plainclothes officers and agents that consistently patrol the outer perimeter of the White House complex identified a suspicious individual that appeared to have a firearm. They called in support from our marked uniformed Secret Service police to make contact with that individual. Upon making contact, that individual fled briefly on foot, withdrew a firearm, and fired in the direction of our agents and officers. They returned fire and engaged. That individual was hit. He's since been transported to the hospital. I have no comments on his condition. I can tell you that at least one, we believe only one bystander was hit by the suspect. That individual, it's a juvenile, did not sustain any life-threatening injuries, but he's also receiving treatment at the hospital.
Wait, there was a kid that was hit?
Yes. Yeah, a teenager, I believe. Yeah. Yeah, a kid was hit. Not life-threatening. But I mean, as of like 7:30 Central, there was no identity information available on the shooter yet. And this happened hours ago. I mean, it was daylight.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think we need to know more about that. We should keep an eye on it.
Did you guys see what took place in court today for Cole Allen? Speaking of Cole Allen and stopping the White House Correspondents' Center, did you see I put in Dropbox the motion that his attorney filed yesterday? Because there was a hearing scheduled for today because his attorney filed a document saying that he was put on suicide watch and they had him, they were treating him however, and he didn't want to be treated that way. I don't know. And so they scheduled a hearing for today to handle it. Well, yesterday, the attorney filed a motion to vacate this hearing because the problem had already been remedied. And the judge refused to vacate the hearing and held the hearing, even though the defense attorney was saying, we don't need this hearing. We need to vacate this hearing. It's already remedied. It's already taken care of. It's handled. We don't need this hearing. The judge still held the hearing and said all of that crap that he said today, bringing up J6 and inserting his political opinion and apologizing to the prisoner that tried to kill Donald Trump.
Yeah. And just like Andrea, NY845 says, he doesn't like his accommodations. Well, too effing bad. Here's an idea. If you don't like being put on suicide watch and having your lights left on 24 hours a day, maybe you shouldn't try to kill the president and his cabinet.
The fact that judge brought up January 6th saying he should be treated like every January 6th prisoner, and I don't recall hearing of any J6 prisoners being treated this way. Excuse me, if you're asserting the fact that he should be treated like the J6 prisoners, then I think that means you're going to have to hold him for a very long time without even pressing charges. And you're going to have to hold him in solitary confinement, make him stay there for 30 some odd hours a day, which is against the law, by the way. In
over a year
conditions,
in some instances.
Not letting them shower, not letting them shave, making them stay in solitary confinement for 30 some odd hours straight, not getting sunlight, not doing all of the things that you're supposed to do for humane treatment of prisoners. So if you're going to say you're going to treat him like J6 prisoners were treated, then that's how you're supposed to treat them. Because there are even reports from the marshals, there are plenty of statements from Congress. There's an OIG report, I believe, also on the conditions that the J6ers were kept in. Elizabeth Warren even made a statement saying that she condemned the way that the J6 prisoners were being treated. And this judge wants to come out and say that somehow this guy's being treated unfairly because of politics. And he apologized to the guy that is a would-be assassin of Donald Trump.
Yep. Yeah. So what the judge is reacting to is this 5-point harness, which if you don't know what it means, you're basically laying on your back and you're tied down both legs, your arms, and you've got a strap across your forehead. So he's basically kept there immobile for, I don't know, all day with the lights on. I mean, I'm sorry, dude. You're lucky you're alive, frankly. I mean, let's be honest.
I don't know, man.
No, you're right. He didn't think he was going to be alive.
He's
and
lucky.
That was the argument. That was the prosecution's argument about putting him on suicide watch was this guy didn't expect to make it out. Why do we think that he's going to not harm himself in prison and he needs to face justice?
Yeah. Right. I would just take a nap. That's all I would do. I would sleep. I'd take a long nap. Sorry. If you're going to pin me down like that, I'd just take lots of naps.
For a little bit.
That's right. All right. Switching gears here. So I think one of my favorite topics, actually, let's do this. We need to do the Medicaid money trail. Did you guys see this? We're going to pull this up on the, let me get this out of here. We're going to pull this up on the green screen, screen share, so that we can walk through this, because it wasn't just the exposure from Data Republican that happened today. We also had Luke Rosiak, who is another incredible investigative journalist. And by the way, these investigative journalists that are out there literally putting their lives on the line to bring us the information that the mainstream media should be giving us is a really good indication that our political system is changing in ways that I don't think anybody is prepared for, particularly politicians. I don't think the political class is yet prepared for how hard it's going to be for them to continue to hide this stuff. They're not going to be able to continue to hide the fraud. So they're going to start changing tactics. I don't know exactly what that's going to look like, but I think what's going to happen is you're going to start to see both Democrats and Republicans coming out strongly against this type of fraud because there's nowhere to hide anymore. But it's almost too late. So Luke Rosiak, who's been investigating the additional cases of Medicare or Medicaid fraud, this time decided to go take a good look in Columbus, Ohio. And as Nam mentioned earlier, this is a topic that he's talked about extensively for months, because if you're from Central Ohio, you know damn well what's been going on in this state. You know about the Northern Columbus Somali communities and the Western Columbus Hispanic communities. You know all about these immigrant communities that were literally just dropped into Central Ohio under Clinton and then again under Biden, or excuse me, under Obama. And you know the fraud that is being perpetrated. You can see the Leering centers all up and down Morse Road. They're everywhere. You can see,
you can see the cars. You
everywhere.
You can see the cars. You can see the shopping bags. I mean, I have never seen. I don't know if you know this, SK. Somali Muslim women wearing full burqas love shopping at Victoria's Secret. You know how I know that? Because they would come out with dozens and dozens of bags of Victoria's Secret all the time.
So that's wild.
I went this weekend over to Easton, which is one of the shopping centers here in Central Ohio. Pretty good place. And I bought my wife for an anniversary a couple of years ago. Just this, it wasn't really expensive, but it was a Tiffany's pearl ring. It was like $1,000. It wasn't very much. It wasn't like one of the high-end Tiffany's things. And like 2 months after we bought it, the pearl just popped off. And we've been waiting forever just because we keep forgetting to take it in. And I decided this weekend I was going to go take it in there and I was going to have them repair it. And as I'm walking out, there are a gaggle of full burqa'd Somali women walking into Tiffany's with diamond rings all over them. I mean, wearing it's like, where is this coming from? Well, we know where it's coming from. It's coming from Medicaid fraud. It's coming from these enterprises they set up to bilk the American taxpayer for hundreds of billions of dollars, except this one is just a little bit different than what they're doing up in Minnesota. So what
Patriot
he's
dads, they're getting all that stuff because they're saving all their money because they're not grocery shopping. They're eating the dogs and they're eating the cats.
no, they're not.
No,
What they're
because
doing is they're
all the
opening
food
grocery
stamps, they're on
stores,
all the
using
food
food
stamps,
stamps to stock the shelves in the grocery stores, and then keeping all the profit that's spent in their stores.
That's a fact.
It's insane what they do.
Mhm.
But he goes on and says, I've spent the past 2 months diving into the numbers. What I found was the most blatant waste of federal dollars that I've encountered in my 2 decades as an investigative reporter. I set my sights on Ohio, which, like Minnesota, has been granted waivers to expand Medicaid well beyond its original purpose. Under the guise of healthcare, Ohio pays people to go to Medicaid beneficiaries' homes to perform homemaking and chores, like cooking and cleaning. So it's like a home health nurse, right? The people performing these personal service
No.
tasks.
That's not like a home health nurse.
Oh,
That
okay.
is
Explain
a home. It is come in your house and clean your house for you and do your dishes for you and spend time and hang out with you. It is not a let's take care of your bandages. Let's make sure you don't have bed sores. That's not it at all. That's not what he's talking about. I mean, keep reading it. It's very,
Ohio,
very
so
clear.
let me back
we have
this
some
up.
funny comments, you guys. Our comments are underrated.
We'll throw them up there. Can you put them up?
I can't. I don't have control over that.
Oh, we need to get you in here so you can do that.
I don't know if that's a good idea.
That's true.
Oh, they're talking about the Haitians.
They said
Oh.
pirates
Getting
doing
the-
pirate things and what? There was another one. Hold on. Oh, Star Spangled Kyle said you save a lot of money eating rice and bananas.
Yeah, you do. Or tuna corn and rice is what my wife. Tuna noodle corn is what we used to eat back when we first got married, like multiple times a week because it was cheap. That's how we did it. We didn't start fraudulent Medicaid businesses.
Tuna helper?
No, just tuna, noodles, and corn. Not tuna helper.
Ew.
Like egg noodles, tuna, and corn. It was like $2 for a dinner. Anyway, but my by the way, tomorrow is my 20th anniversary. For those of you guys that care, 20 years with Patriot Mom tomorrow.
Congratulations.
I know.
That's
It's
so
exciting.
awesome. My husband asked me to marry him 15 years ago tomorrow.
There you go.
Also, Cinco de Mayo.
That's right. That's right. All right. So we're going to back up a sentence because Nam set me right on course where it says, under the guise of healthcare, Ohio pays people to go to Medicaid beneficiaries' homes to perform homemaking and chores like cooking and cleaning. Wait, I thought that was the whole point of bringing your Somali wife into the United States so that she could be a homemaker and do chores like cooking and cleaning. But I guess not. The people performing these personal services tasks don't even have to be healthcare workers, and in many cases are actually relatives of the Medicaid recipient. According to Daily Wire data analysis, Ohio spent $1 billion on home health care in 2024, the last year for which data is available. Since the services are performed inside private residences, there is no way to know whether the workers went at all or what they're actually doing in exchange for taxpayer funds. An infinite number of small black boxes inside of a black box. The multiple signs said this service provided and built to the government was sometimes just companionship and conversation. So wait a minute. You mean to tell me that in the state of Ohio, we are paying over $1 billion in 2024 for people to go to their relative's house for companionship and conversation?
Well, only if the relative is already on Medicaid, which means that they're having their health care paid for, so they can also then apply and they can be covered for, this is basically butler services, right? They can basically, Medicaid will cover a butler service, and generally it's your aunt, your sister, your uncle that, you know, probably doesn't even show up. They just collect the money. They just,
holy crap. I mean, this,
read through all this, dude.
This is crazy. All right.
That's
okay. So as people have realized the United States government will pay them to hang out with their own families, Northeast Columbus has seen its economy replaced by businesses that bill Medicaid. And Columbus, a city with the second largest Somali population in the country, has become on the surface the most unhealthy city on the planet. You don't say. Well, if the government is going to pay you to do it, one home health operator told me, people see it as lucrative, so they jump on it. No crap. You mean it's lucrative to get paid to go hang out with your family member for conversation and companionship and maybe do some dishes. This is nuts. The new welfare queens aren't the recipients whose low incomes qualify them for poverty programs. They're the companies getting rich off of them. Driving down Cleveland Avenue, which by the way is northern Columbus, it intersects with Morse Road. In less than 40 seconds, you come across endless home health companies: Capital Home Health, Continental Home Health, Dynamic Home Healthcare, Ohio Senior Home, and so on and so on. Entire buildings throughout the city are filled entirely with what appear to be identical businesses. The enormous complex pictured below is 6161 Bush Boulevard. And yes, it's called Bush because there's an Anheuser-Busch manufacturing or whatever distillery there. It's a giant, and it makes the whole area smell like brewing beer. Its lack of windows.
Bush with a C.
Yeah. The enormous complex picture below is 6161 Bush Boulevard. By the way, that Anheuser-Busch factory has been there literally my entire life. So it's like one of the staples of northern Columbus. Its lack of windows would be a problem for most office buildings, but there is almost no one in this one. What's inside is 94 different companies signed up to bill Medicaid, each with a tiny office, often marked with a sheet of paper proclaiming some generic company name ending in Home Health LLC, and sometimes another piece of paper claiming the employee had just stepped out for a break. This building alone billed taxpayers $66 million in a span of a few years. This building, and you can see it. You can't see, there's no windows, there's no nothing. They've blacked it all out so that you can't see that $66 million have been billed to an entire building worth of businesses. Holy crap. Pick the owner of a Columbus home healthcare company at random and look him up in public records, and you are likely to go down an endless rabbit hole. Years of unpaid taxes and debts, sometimes criminal records, and an astonishing number of LLCs created in other industries, as if the millions they make from Medicaid are just a side gig. We went down several of those rabbit holes. In the coming days, you'll meet one, a politician who founded an 11 million home healthcare company that he appeared to run part-time without even mentioning it in his political biography. Who's that person? Do we know who that person is?
We could figure that out, because you're going to find out the context of all of these people here very soon. We can figure it out though.
So a politician who founded an 11 million home healthcare company that appeared to run part-time without mentioning it in his political biography, who funded his campaign with donations from other home healthcare owners. You don't say. A woman who reinvented her janitorial LLC as health provider, then billed Medicaid nearly $100,000 the first month. That's one hell of a redesign of your business model. A landlord who bought airplanes after renting space to hundreds of home healthcare companies that billed Medicaid $250 million. Well, there you go. Dude bought an airplane. $1 million Medicaid business owner, or owned by a couple with repeated fraud, violence, and theft convictions. A man who went to prison for Medicaid fraud, but told the government he was too broke to pay restitution, while his neighbors and associates preside over a poverty program empire. An accountant who lost his license for stealing public funds, then opened a 7 million home health company using the address of a convicted money launderer's teenage son. Do we not do any type of
keep going?
Do we not do any type of background checks on these people?
No. Well, so
they probably check a box that they're Somalian or they're an immigrant of some sort, or on a program like the CHNV program or something like that, and then they probably just automatically get approved.
Holy moly. These are not business geniuses, nor even people with...
You don't need to read all this. Read the last paragraph on the screen right there, and you'll understand right there. Nearly every... No.
There you go. Nearly every owner of home healthcare companies in Columbus appears to be foreign. They live in a parallel society where every associate in public records also has a foreign name, and all their business transactions are conducted with other foreigners. They've literally created an entire refugee
piracy
economy
industry,
fraud ring
using our tax dollars,
criminal ring, money laundering ring.
Yeah.
When we asked one home healthcare company what one home healthcare company did, one man threatened journalists. Who cares? Do you guys pay my bills? I'm going to tell everyone you guys are racist.
Wonder where they learned that.
Wait, so
Oh
earlier,
no, please don't call me racist. That's the
earlier we
worst
had
thing you
Jenny
could ever
Lynn ask
say.
an important question about who should you be voting for in the Ohio primaries? And Nam made probably the most important point of the night on this topic, which is if you don't vote for Vivek Ramaswamy, you're going to put Amy Acton in the governor's mansion in Ohio, and this will disappear tomorrow.
No, the fraud won't disappear, but
No,
the
no.
ability to talk about it will disappear.
right.
Nothing
It
will
will
happen. Nothing
Here,
will happen. Will disappear.
this is unbelievable.
It'll be swept under the rug. Get the brooms out because it'll be swept right under the rug. What are you talking about? Fraud? We don't know anything about any fraud.
Well, the good news is we know that the FBI is looking into this type of stuff. And I know everyone wants to say that there's nothing happening on the Minnesota. Did you know that like almost 70 people have already been found guilty for some of the fraud that's been going on in Minnesota? They are, in fact, prosecuting these people, and these people are going to be prosecuted too.
Yeah, and a lot of those cases have been ongoing for years. So listen, I don't want to stomp all over Nick Shirley, but what he exposed, he basically just put a camera on what a lot of people already knew. He just put a camera on it, and it went mainstream. A lot of those cases were already ongoing. The U.S. attorney up there, even under Biden, was trying to do something with this, but the attorney general, Keith Ellison, and the governor, they simply wouldn't do anything to stop it. Now, if they could lop off the heads of a couple of low-level people, say, listen, we're prosecuting this while, you're still losing 18 to $20 billion a year doing this, they're fine with that. Let's get a few, and then we'll just keep the fraud flowing so it can come back into our campaign coffers. That's what they
Yep.
And Democrats in Ohio will do the same. Well, Republicans too. We know Republicans in Ohio are filthy as hell. I mean, who did we see get thrown in jail not too long ago? I'd have to ask Mrs. Knopf's brother the name of it, but
Householder.
Yeah.
I mean, he was involved in like this energy company scam
Huge
where
energy
basically,
scam,
so they were basically like bilking the taxpayer to fund some energy company that he was like getting a ton of kickbacks on. They're all a bunch of crooks, all of them, every one of them. All right, Ohio politics is about as slimy as it gets. But Vivek Ramaswamy may not be perfect, but at least he has a plan for lifting this state up and putting it into a better position than it is in currently. And the alternative Republican is pretty clearly a racist. I don't know how he's a groyper. I mean, literally courting the Nick Fuentes groyper army to help him in his campaign. And at this point, you can't argue that they're not a bunch of racists. That's what they are.
No, I agree. So, I mean, I don't know if you want to play that video so you can show everybody what that's all about. Or do we want to talk about the USCIS and the kind of the new abilities that Customs and Immigration Service has?
No, you're gonna have to leave that one.
And we have Iran.
We got Iran, we got that, we've got the fag of flop, and we've got about 40 minutes to get through it all. So,
well, I just wanted to...
Oh no, that's funny.
What?
Is Nom some GR said don't come up short, Nom, but then the Errol whatever that says is Nom now Jewish, asking as a Jew.
No.
I have been called Jewish many times by these people.
Yes.
No,
I'm certainly not Jewish.
It was because it was just the tip. Never mind.
Oh. All right. Yeah, no.
All right, I have no idea what this topic is. You're gonna have to run.
Yeah, so I thought this was interesting. This is a John Solomon article that came out, published yesterday, updated today, about USCIS, is U.S. Customs and Immigration Service. The chief is launching a historic offensive against immigration fraud, armed with denaturalization powers that they didn't have before. So essentially, what this means is that what we're doing is we saw a need for. It was a very specialized group of criminal investigators. Many are in training right now and are bringing more on all the time. Who are going to be going out to various field offices across the country and investigating actual fraud in our immigration process. So this administration, among the myriad of other things that they're doing, they are taking fraud very seriously across the board because, as we all know, if you remove the fraud from our annual budget, you probably save the entire, well, I don't know, at least a good portion of what our national debt is, right? A good portion of our national debt exists because of fraud. There's just no question about it. And this administration is taking it very seriously. So what else? And an early test of heightened scrutiny, USCIS's operational twin shielded Minneapolis-St. Paul area uncovered suspected fraud in 275 of more than 1,000 cases reviewed during a 10-day search. 1,000 cases of immigrants that were reviewed, and nearly 30% of them were fraudulent naturalization or fraudulent immigration cases. And yeah,
I wonder if this is why Candace Owens and her demon cult of slop are losing their freaking minds. I know it sounds disconnected. What on earth
it's not,
could you possibly, how could you possibly connect the federal government looking more closely at immigration and naturalization fraud? How could that possibly relate to Candace Owens? Well, if you were spending any time on social media this weekend, you already know the answer to that. It is probably the reason why these people are losing their freaking minds. Did you see this, SK? I know you've been trying to stay out of the Candace Owens crap. I know it. Did you see this?
I'm sorry. These comments are so underrated. You guys miss so much whenever
you need to call them out. What are we missing?
I tried. You guys didn't get it. And
we're trying to run a show here. If we want to read the comments, if you want us to read the comments for a show, we can read the comments for a show. We're trying to run a show here.
You guys are running the show because I would never be able. Remember those podcasts when I used to be professional because I didn't know how to view the comments on the screen?
You didn't even know they were there.
I remember. All right. Well, so that was an incredible segue. I don't know if you set that up on purpose or not, Nom,
I did,
but
actually.
You did. All right. Well, so this popped just a little while ago. As I was logging in, I was like, I guess it was like 5 minutes before the show started, and I was just flipping through X, and I see this from Laura Loomer. And by the way, you don't have to like Laura Loomer, but you damn well better respect her because this woman is literally a one-person wrecking ball. Like she's like the non-AI version of Data Republican, except she does it with an amount of viciousness and well-deserved aggressiveness that I don't think anybody else on social media does.
No. And I love the fact that she calls her Candace.
So she says, breaking sources tell me George Farmer's 2023 DUI and his citizenship application and records at INS are now allegedly being reevaluated by the Department of Homeland Security. No wonder that Candace is convulsing today with more lies. The truth will come out. What is she talking about? Well, what she's talking about is this. By the way, it's become very obvious to me.
She's talking
at least
about this.
Yeah, that's what she's talking about.
That's what she's talking about.
She's talking about the federal government. The Trump administration is now taking a very close look at whether or not people have cheated the system in order to get naturalized and earn their citizenship. And if you've been following along in the beat down that Laura Loomer has been giving Candace Owens over the last week, you'll know that there has been this rumor floating around for a long time that Candace Owens' husband, George Farmer, who, by the way, is deeply connected to the British imperialist system, Richard Dearlove, all the stuff, Russian collusion hoax, all of it. We know, we've talked about it. But apparently there may have been a period a few years ago where there might have been an accident. There may have possibly been allegedly documents surfaced that show that he might have possibly allegedly been more than 3 times the legal limit, and also allegedly possibly might have been carrying a firearm, at least in his vehicle. And what's really strange about it is he was here on a green card at that point.
Uh-oh.
And I don't know if you know this or not, but in order to qualify for naturalization, you can't do that.
Aren't they deporting Mahmoud Khalil for lying on his application?
They are.
Wait. You mean like these guys right here?
Mhm.
These guys,
Yeah.
immigration fraud armed with denaturalization. Yeah. You know who else? I mean, obviously we know who else we're looking at, right? 11 Han Omar. And I saw that today. And then you got, what's his name up there in New York City? Muslimi. There's a lot of people, and George Farmer. I mean, you have to just roll them up there in the old wheelbarrow and kick all their asses out of the fucking country.
I always see salami when I see Mamdani, so it's salami.
Muslimi.
That's right.
But isn't salami? What's salami made out of? Nobody knows.
It's not as bad as bologna, that's for sure. But it's I don't know. It's got some spices and stuff.
I like salami, except unless you get that little piece that's like really hard because it's like the gristle or something like that and like breaks your tooth. But salami's pretty
what's
good.
It made out of? Can they?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Is it pig?
Pig.
Salami has pork in it.
It's like sausage.
There you go.
And a lot of other stuff.
So call him Muzz Salami.
Muzz salami.
Yeah, they love that.
Anyway, Stephanie Carter says she's got to go to sleep.
Oh, I'm sorry,
All right, Stephanie. See you later.
We keeping you up? Are we keeping you up, Stephanie?
I totally just called her out. I didn't mean to. I just happened to glance over there and said she's going to bed.
Night, Stephanie.
Good night, Stephanie.
Yeah,
Sweet
come back.
dreams.
Thank you for joining.
Didn't mean to keep you up. Sorry.
But that's not the only thing that has the cult really nervous. Do you guys remember a week or so ago when we talked about how the cult is being led by a demon queen who has spent the last year basically trying to convince her audience that Israel is full of demons, like it's a demonic nation state. And then we find out that she went out and hired 3 Zionist Jewish attorneys to represent her in her lawsuit against, Macron's wife after she accused her of being a man. Well, it gets worse than that. I don't know why, but I have fun talking about this stuff. I know I shouldn't because it's gossip columns, but it's fun. SK, go ahead. What do you do?
Guys, Winston Smith said that salami is it's pork, but it's from the rooter to the tutor, which is funny because I don't eat bologna or hot dogs because I tell my kids that it's lips and buttholes. But from the rooter to the tutor is way better.
Can I continue with the storyline of the show?
I mean, who wants to have an actual show? We could just read comments all day. Who needs an actual show?
So earlier, before Candace Owens started freaking out this weekend, one of the things that really triggered her was a new revelation about just how insincere these people really are. Because we've been tracking, the Michael Farmer, Lord Farmer, and his minerals and mining enterprise. And we talked on Friday specifically about how the British imperialist system is designed specifically for the globalists like Lord Farmer to go into other countries and steal their national resources. Well, come to find out that Lord Farmer has in fact been, or allegedly been investing a portion of his family fortune into organizations like Hetz Ventures. So what's Hetz Ventures? Well, Hetz Ventures is a ecosystem that funds startup companies in Israel that are specifically designed to provide technology and support and logistics to the IDF. And you weren't supposed to find this out. Like, we were not supposed to know that the Demon Queen's husband's father has invested a significant portion of his family fortune into supporting the IDF, which, if you listen to Candace Owens, is literally the spawn of Satan who is engaging in genocide all over the Middle East. Like, you weren't supposed to know that. But now, thanks to Laura Loomer, we do. Because it wasn't just a Hetz Ventures screenshot that she put up. She actually was able to find the filings in the British Parliament's system. And you can see here, it's hard to see, but you can very clearly see Lord Farmer actually admits to investing in Hetz Ventures. It's right there. So
you guys have this.
Yeah,
You
we
had
have
this months ago.
Yeah, we have it. But it's fun to watch. It's fun to watch like heavyweights like Laura Loomer and Candace Owens going at each other. Because, by the way, for those who are paying attention at home, this is how you actually prove things. You don't do it through dreams and feels and knowing, but not knowing.
No. And so listen, I hate the Candace Owens topic more than anybody. But I do recognize the value of discrediting her and discrediting this movement. Because there's still a lot of people who watch her show, and there's still a lot of people, even though that number is shrinking, there's still a lot of people who take everything she says as the gospel. So watching her crash and burn is actually, I think, important for our republic. I think it's important for the Republican Party. So I'm some of this I'm happy to do. Most of it, like if it's nonstop, I don't want to talk about Candace all the time.
Well, there is a specific reason why this is really important today. I need to find hold on a minute. Someone talk for a second, because I have to find a.
What do you want me to talk about?
I don't care.
I don't know.
Talk about
comments.
Okay, are there any more funny comments? Let's read some comments.
There's tons of funny comments, except they're actually right now they're just being nice to me because Jake said that they were going to get me fired again.
Why are you going to get fired? Just because you have a dirty mind and
I don't pay attention, and I'm always interrupting with funny comments. But we were joking. I'm not actually going to get fired. And then I said, exactly, Jake, are you guys going to pay my unemployment when I get fired? And then I said, wait, I don't get paid here. And everybody in the comments is like, Kay Pasto's like, I'll follow SK wherever she goes. People are like, if she gets fired, we're going wherever she goes.
I now remember why I couldn't find it, because I didn't put it into the Dropbox because I wanted to just show you on my X account. So we're going to do that. Because I thought my response to this was pretty good. So I don't know if you guys have seen this, but there's a reason why it's important to continue to illustrate the downfall of the Candace Owens cult, because they've been working towards something over the last 6 months. This is not just random. This is not just an objective of Candace Owens to try to destroy a person or an organization. These people have been organizing for some time, trying to create a movement, and we've talked about this over and over again, trying to create a movement so they can build a third-party option to the Republicans and the Democrats. They've never been able to accomplish this. The Libertarians have tried it. The Occupy Wall Street people have tried it. The Ron Paul Revolution people have tried it. They have all tried to build a third-party alternative to Republicans and Democrats. And you can argue that we need one. That's fine. That is an argument that can be had. The problem is it's becoming patently obvious that the third party that's starting to emerge today is a combination of radical leftists who don't like the fact that their Democrat leaders are a bunch of geriatric morons and racist, Nazi-like, far right-wing woke right, the Nick Fuentes groups, the fake-ass black pill want to be America First crowd. They're trying to merge those two together to create a new party.
So the radical left Democrats are racist. We know that. They're racist. They hate Jews. They actually really hate black people. Just watch what they've done to the black community for, I don't know, the last 70 years, 60 years. They absolutely hate the black community. They hate black people. And the far right hate Jews and they hate black people. How are these people different? I'm just kind of curious. One wants communism and the other one doesn't. I mean, that's really the only difference, I guess.
Nope. And we've been looking at this really, really closely over the last couple of weeks. And we are going to do, I promise you, we are going to do a full episode on the political philosophy, the ideology that is being used to drive this movement. It's
Alexander Dugan.
It's from a guy, a specific person by the name of Alexander Dugan. and you guys have probably heard that name. If you haven't done any research into who Alexander Dugan is, you should do it. We're going to do some of that work also. Alexander Dugan is a Russian political philosopher, somebody who has these just incredibly crazy ideas. The genesis of his perspective is that we have to destroy the decadence of Western culture. We have to destroy Western civilization, and we have to take us backwards in time. And this is why you're starting to hear people like Tucker Carlson talk about going back to simpler days, removing the opulence and the decadence of Western culture. It is not hyperbole to say that if Alexander Dugan had his way, he would have us back in the dark ages. Alexander Dugan is a guy whose political philosophy is that communism didn't go far enough. Fascism and Nazism did not go far enough. And they believe, they honestly believe that we have to destroy the American society and the American system in order to develop something they called multipolarity, which basically reshapes the world so that you have the United States brought down, you have China and Russia elevated, and you've got powerful nations that are in opposition to each other. They live in a world of chaos, and you have to have alternate or you have to have competing powerful states fighting against one another in constant conflict in order to keep each other in line.
It's literally what we've been doing for the last 100 years. What the fuck,
what
people?
But the problem is, this is the guy that these guys are organizing around. This is the guy that Tucker Carlson went to go see secretly when he went to Russia and met with him after he met with Putin. Did a quick interview with him and posted it publicly, but didn't really talk about what else they talked about. This is a guy who literally is promoting every single one of these FAGA podcast bros and hoes. He is the political philosophy that they are standing up in this new movement. SK gets paid now. SK, you get paid? There you go. $10, SK, just for you.
Well, no. She's got to tip out. I'm sorry, guys. There's 3 of us here.
You said tip. You missed the whole tip conversation about Candace and her tip box, and they're saying that Nom should.
What's going on over there? She can't talk.
You guys, I've been crying. They think that Nom should send his tip to Candace's box.
Okay.
All right.
You guys are out of control. The best of the best. All
y'all. Thank you, GR Patriot. Thanks, everybody. Guys, awesome. Can we please stop talking about my fingertip? That would be wonderful. Thank you.
I don't think that's the tip they're talking about, yo. All right.
You completely missed the one where somebody asked if you were Jewish now, and he even said he's Jewish.
No, why would I be Jewish?
Because you cut the tip off.
You know, that's the circle. Listen,
it's not the tip, it's just the extra portion.
No,
there's no extra part of my finger.
You guys, people are asking if I'm drunk. I've had 0 alcohol since. Did we do the show Friday?
Yes. She drank on Friday.
And I didn't even have very much.
I bet that was fun.
It was actually kind of boring because it was about 35 minutes of economic talk.
I have no idea what he said.
She checked out. She was out. She had no part in that. She was like, I'm done. You suck. The chat loved it, but she did not like it. She was bored, but it was important. Anyway, I brought this up for a reason, because now you're starting to see the Candace Owens cult. They want to try to start to bring people together again. After spending the last 7 months doing everything they can to destroy everything that they can get their hands on, now Candace Owens says we need to continue to fix the fracture between left and right. We now know what true evil is. It is us against the Epstein class and the warmongers, which is really weird because everything that you're doing, Candace Owens, is designed directly to protect the Epstein class, the globalists, the UN organizations, the color revolutionists, the Democrat Party operatives whose names are littered all over that. And of course, I responded and said, nah, you faggot shitbirds can just go back to the lunatic left. But I brought this up because now you're starting to see other FAGA influencers saying the same thing. You've got Ian Carroll. Both sides are tricked into characterizing each other. The left thinks the whole right wing is Ted Cruz, and the right thinks the whole left wing is Dylan Mulvaney. In reality, the vast majority of regular Americans on both sides are regular and reasonable people. The problem, Ian, is you're not a regular, reasonable people. I agree with that sentiment. But the problem is the people who are driving this FAGA movement are not regular and they are not reasonable. They are radical, racist, anti-Zionist, in some cases, straight up Nazis who are trying to grab a portion of the radical left, grab a portion of the lunatic right, and bring them together into a third party to divide the country. That's exactly what they're trying to do. That's what they're trying to do. And they flat out tell you that. This is not a secret. So there's a guy out there on social media, guy by the name of Harrison, whatever his name is, Harrison Smith, I think. Harrison Smith is a former contributor to, I think he was on Alex Jones. I think he was a contributor on Alex Jones. I think he actually was on the Alex Jones network for a while. And just the other day, he posted, "Now is the perfect time to start a third party. For the first time in history, there is a position that will draw equally from the left and right, since both the Democrats and Republicans have a base that is anti-Israel and leadership that is pro-Israel." And he goes on to say that it's time to start a third party. Folks, this is not an academic exercise. The people who have been engaging in an effort to use Israel as a wedge to divide MAGA were doing it specifically so that they could carve out a portion of a movement they didn't create, take advantage of a vacuum that was created when Charlie was assassinated to try to radicalize a bunch of young men who Charlie attracted into TPUSA, and they're trying to pull them out as a part of the Fuentes Groyper army and turn them into the most radical racist you have ever seen.
Yeah. Yeah. It's unfortunate. Because Charlie would have hated every second of what they're doing.
Every second of what they're doing, he would have hated. So there's this effort to create a third party. But the problem is they're realizing very quickly that their online presence is not translating into actual movement opportunity.
Speaking of third party, I can give you one more bit of information that hasn't been posted yet.
Mm-hmm. Are you breaking news right now?
Well, it's not that big of a deal. That one dude, Miles Taylor, he co-founded the Forward Party with Andrew Yang that's responsible for pushing all the open primaries and ranked choice voting across the country.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go through a couple of screenshots here because there was a lot of activity that happened. So we had Harrison Smith openly calling for the beginning of a third party. And remember, he's part of the FAGA influencer crowd. He's an Alex Jones acolyte, spends time in X spaces with Diligent, Denizen, and Project Constitution, is all up in the Candace Owens comment section. He's one of them. That's what he is. And he's calling for a third party. And then over the last couple of weeks, there apparently was an effort to bring some of these major influencers together under the umbrella of Nick Fuentes's America First Party. And they created a conference called the America First United. And they brought some of the most important influencers and social media bros and hoes all together under one roof that they could find. They had people like Jake Shields. You guys know Jake Shields, who's like a former MMA fighter, has almost 1 million followers himself. Whatever her name is. You got Joel Webson. You've got that guy Virillium. You had Morgan Ariel. Like there was a bunch of, I think I counted, and I think it's well over 2 million followers just on X alone of people that showed up to this conference. Like this was supposed to be the launch of the America First movement. This was supposed to be the thing that kicked it out the door. And they had about 15 people show up.
Wait,
Seriously. They had about 15 people show up. They had less than 400 people online watching it live, and about 15 people showed up. You've got over 2 million followers on X across a handful of the FAGA influencer class who were promoting this event, and they had about 15 people show up. Not only that, but at this event, they had this Virillium guy who apparently is a very fluid gender groiper. They had a progressive Islamic radical speaking, who's used to be a part of the Biden religion council or whatever, religious council that Carrie Jean Pierre, whatever the hell her name is, used to be on.
Karine Jean-Pierre.
No. The blonde, the
Carrie
Hezbollah,
Prejean.
Yeah, Carrie Prejean, Hezbollah Barbie. She used to be part of that council. And apparently she resigned when Carrie Prejean was kicked off in protest. But they had a radical Islamist on there. They also had a Hispanic anti-ICE radical as part of their America First United summit, which about 15 people showed up. So as you can imagine, because this did not go as well as they were hoping, suddenly there is now a split in the America First movement. The groypers are very, 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 very upset. Very upset. How dare they suddenly use the name that Nick Fuentes created, America First, according to them. They think that Nick Fuentes is the one who created the America First concept, despite the fact that we've been talking about America First as part of MAGA literally since 2016, and it's actually defined in the National Security Strategy document. It's defined in there. Like, it literally defines what America First is, but yet these idiot groypers think that Nick Fuentes is the one who owns it. So they hold this. Go ahead.
Sorry. How did I not know that blonde chick had a sex tape?
Oh, I mean, that's one of the reasons why she lost her crown, isn't it? Because wasn't she like Miss America? Or yeah, she was a beauty pageant. Idea. Yep.
That's crazy.
So now the blame game has been happening all weekend. So because the event was such an epic failure, you've got all the groypers out there all weekend demanding that people accept the reality, or at least their perspective, that Nick Fuentes is not affiliated with America First United. In no way is he affiliated, because you can't have Nick Fuentes and the groyper movement be affiliated with something that's not successful. And you also, according to the comment section, can never allow a Nick Fuentes supported movement to be led by women. You're not allowed.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So the problem, the reason why you're not going to get any groypers, any of this whole crowd to show up at these conferences, is because they don't leave their house. I mean, almost all of these guys, they're, what do they call those?
Incels.
Recluses.
Incel. Yeah, they're all incels, bunch of incels.
But they're all stuck in their mom's basements. Some of them are probably too big to leave the door.
I'm sure. I mean, Project Constipation, Sloppy Constipation. That's a good example one. He's not going anywhere anymore. He's going to be homebound. You're going to see him on the next episode of My 600-Pound Life. Yeah,
that's right. Hey, SK, you're going to like this one. I don't know if you've seen this or not. Do you remember this guy? You remember him? It's our old TikTok friend. No, it's our old Groyper Justin. It's our old friend. Yeah.
He changed his name to Groyper Justin.
He changed his name to Groyper Justin. Just do me a favor and read his post today for me.
What does NJF mean?
I don't know.
Okay.
It means Nick J. Fuentes.
Yeah.
Nick J. Fuentes.
Yeah, that's right. Because America First equals Nick Fuentes.
Okay.
Like, you can't be America First unless you are a Groyper. You can't. They won't allow you
okay.
to.
If you even disagree with him by the slightest, we will destroy you. He's the fucking blueprint and represents us. Oh, wow. So, I'm not surprised at all.
This is our old.
If you guys don't know him, he's a real gem.
But this is what every comment looks like this weekend from the Groypers. These people are violently upset that the event that was supported at least in part by Nick Fuentes, was such an epic failure that they are doing everything in their power to try to distance himself from it. But it's not going to work. It's not going to work at all because unfortunately, well, here, let me just play this for you.
Can I just say it gives me great pleasure that post has 25 views.
Oh, dude.
What leader?
He just got more views being on our podcast.
Yeah.
Hey, Justin, winning.
Yeah, nobody follows his crap because he's a disgusting pig. But one of the reasons why they're failing miserably to distance themselves from this epic failure, which, by the way, this video right here that we're doing, this podcast that we're doing right here, the three of us who collectively have maybe 150,000 followers across X, maybe, will probably end up quadrupling the audience that the America First United had at their kickoff summit. Quadrupling or more.
We get that many, really?
Yeah. Across X and YouTube and Rumble. Yeah. 4,000 or 5,000.
I didn't know. I've never, well, obviously,
Actually, that might actually be like a 10x improvement over what the America First racist Groyper group was able to pull. But the reason why they're not going to be successful at distancing themselves is because of this.
Know what leaders like Nick Fuentes are doing for young men in this room, and I think we need to remember who is the leader of America First. I would say it's Nick Fuentes. You don't have to agree with me on that, but I think we need to continue to listen to voices like that who know what they're talking about, who normally aren't wrong, and yeah.
What is that dude doing? What is that? The dude sitting to the left of or the right of Pink Lady there? What is he doing?
He looks like he's about to go blow something up. Is that the Unabomber?
This might actually be that beryllium guy. It might be the gender fluid dude who is just a total weirdo. I don't know.
There's gender fluid groypers. No, I would never believe that.
Well, you should, because Nick Fuentes is all up in support for these people.
Well, they're all.
He's a big fan of beryllium, who is a gender fluid groyper. Big fan of him. Like, there's really nothing consistent about these people at all. At all. And I don't know if you guys saw this, but I think maybe one of the reasons why this is going to really struggle to get off the ground is because they actually listed out what their platform is. Do you guys want to hear what the America First United political party platform is?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea to know what their platform is.
All right, we should play that. Here is their 4 pillars.
You have to take that one down.
Oh, shoot.
Those are the 4 pillars.
Okay.
Christian nationalism, patriarchy, race realism, and anti-Jew supremacy here in a non-Jewish nation. Thank you.
Should we play that again? Just real quick? Yeah, let's play it again.
I don't know that guy, but he sounds a little light in the loafers.
Yeah, real quick.
Those are the 4 pillars. Christian nationalism, patriarchy, race realism, and anti-Jew supremacy here in a non-Jewish nation. Thank you.
That's the pillar. That is the platform of the new America
Christian
First
nationalism.
Yeah, which, by the way, I don't necessarily have a problem with Christian nationalism. I don't.
Well, I don't either, because being a Christian and being a nationalist, nothing wrong with it.
Yep, no problem with that. Race realism is a bit of an issue for me. What was the gender one? Oh, a patriarchal society.
Yeah.
A patriarchal society. And I don't remember the other one was because I intentionally are forgetting these idiots. And
Jews bad. Jewish bad.
Oh yeah, Jews are bad.
bad.
You can't be Jewish in this country. You have to be a white and all white country, or a white.
We have literally already tried this, guys, and we fought World War 11 as a result of it, folks.
World War 11.
World War 11. Because of people saying that exact same shit.
Yep. I got one more video to show you, and then I quickly want to go over and talk about Tucker Carlson as well, because it was a bad weekend for everybody that's associated with this. A really
Not
bad
for me.
weekend.
I golfed 3 rounds of golf in 3 days with missing a finger, and I shot in the mid to low 80s the entire time, just so everybody's aware.
So you didn't come up short?
Well, some putts were short, some shots were short, some were long, some were great. But I
Can I
shot low 80s.
Can I say that the amazing Torah has a good point here? America First United AFU. I think that's funny because, like, hey, F you. They didn't think about that very well.
Yep. No, they don't think about much at all. Did you guys want to quickly, you want to see Nick Fuentes crashing out in front of the entire world today?
I do.
Yes.
Okay.
I do. Let's
remember. Does his voice get high? Does he do this
clear,
with his wrist?
Just to be curious.
Curious.
This is the man that the America First United Summit was built around, his political philosophy, the things that he believes. And remember that lady, that girl who would live under a subjected society under their pillars, believes that he is never wrong. Never. Can you guys see that?
No.
Hold on.
No.
Why isn't it? Hold on.
Oh, great. Just kick me out. Thanks.
Can you guys hear that?
No. What are you doing that from?
I don't know. Hold on. I don't know where it's playing it from.
Are you trying to do that from a stream? Or from
No, I'm not. Hold on a second.
Do we have it in the...
Yes, it's in the Dropbox. It's under 12. It's under...
What's it called?
The Mexican child leader of the white race, as he's known.
I got
11.
Flop 11.
Flop 11. I don't know why it pulled up in my ears.
War against Israel is the only thing keeping me going at this point. Immigration, who gives a shit? Country's over. It's over. Have you been outside? Do you ever actually even leave the studio? Do you know what it's like out there? We're already a non-white country. Get a grip. Get real, bro. We already live in Mogadishu. We already live in Islamabad. Have you been outside? LA, Chicago, New York. We live in nigger hell. And that's just it's what it is.
What? This guy is way too comfortable saying that word.
Yeah.
That makes me cringe for him, but also not shocked he did this because he's super this.
So folks, as you're going out today, next week, next month, and you're interacting with these people who are trying to convince you that there needs to be an alternate to MAGA, where we need to bridge the divide between left and right, and we need to find ways to come together, bringing leftist and the right to heal the wounds of the nation. Just understand that man right there is the political philosophy that they are going to try to use to heal the divide in America. That's him. That's who they're going to.
Yeah, I mean, we've tried that. It was World War XI.
It makes me nauseous knowing that there are people that were somewhat at some point in time supposedly on our side of the aisle that behave this way. We debated people like this. People on the left were agreeing with me. People that watch me debate a lot were in the comments like, I've never agreed with SK, and it's kind of disturbing. I find myself agreeing with SK. Like, these people are just as bad, if not worse. Well, they're just as bad as the far left. The only difference here is that these people pretend to support the Constitution to a degree, except women shouldn't vote, and, patriarchy, and women should be barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen. Which is crazy because I don't know how they're going to get any women pregnant because I don't even think they like women. I don't even think they like women.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
This is part of the class that spends more time, most of their time watching porn because they aren't attractive enough to the opposite sex to actually find suitable mates.
Maybe one day when Nick Fuentes grows up, because he's like 5'1", maybe when he grows up, he'll realize that he's actually an asshole and nobody should listen to that guy.
That's right.
Loser.
All right. I know we're at time. Last thing I have to do. We have to do this. Jordan Peterson. Nam, can you pull up the Jordan Peterson? There's only one.
We didn't talk about Iran.
I know. We'll get to it. Folks, Iran is playing games. The globalists are trying to use Iran to stoke more oil shocks. You know what's going on. We'll talk about it on Wednesday. How about that? Can we?
Yep.
We'll talk about it Wednesday. So this is Jordan Peterson. Over a year ago, accurately defining everything that you're seeing play out in our political divide today. Play this.
Come on.
4 to 5% of the population, something like that, is cluster B, that's the DSM-5 terms, histrionic, narcissistic, antisocial, psychopathic, or they have dark tetrad traits. They're Machiavellian, they're sadistic. That's about 4%. Okay, so the question is, how do these people maneuver? And the answer is they go to where the power is, and they adopt those ideas, and they put themselves even on the forefront of that.
Right.
But the ideas are completely irrelevant.
Right.
All they're doing is they're the Pharisees. They're the modern version of the Pharisees. They're the people who use God's name in vain, right? As they proclaim moral virtue.
Yes.
Doesn't matter whether it's right or left or Christian or Jewish or Islam. They invade the idea space, and then they use those ideas as false weapons to advance their narcissistic advantage.
Yes.
And so then you have the problem, and the right's going to face this more and more particularly, because the left had to face it when they were in powers.
Yes.
How do you identify the psychopathic parasites, 4% of the population, who are clothed in your clothing and waving your flags, but who are only in it for narcissistic benefit? You know, the people who studied the dark triad, these were people who originally studied psychopaths, and they moved into ordinary personality, so to speak, on the fringes. They showed that the non-criminal psychopaths, so the fringe cases, are Machiavellian. They use their language to manipulate. They're narcissistic. They want unearned reputation. That's what a narcissist wants. And they're psychopathic, which makes them predators or parasites. Okay, that's pretty bad, those three things. But they had to expand the nomenclature after a while because they found that they were also sadistic, which implied that if you're Machiavellian and narcissistic and psychopathic, you develop a sufficiently bad view of your fellow man that their undeserved pain is a source of pleasure to you. And that's what's being enabled online.
Yes.
Like, see, because we've evolved real specific mechanisms to keep such things under control in face-to-face interaction. Lack of anonymity, for example, within a community. Psychopaths in the real world, they wander. They have to move from place to place because people who figure out who they are, and they're held responsible. They're particularly held responsible by men. But online, they escape from that. They escape from that protective, they escape from that system of constraints, and they have free reign, and they can find other people like them very rapidly, and they can gang together. And so this is like, I can really see this starting to happen on the right. Like, I've been tracking psychopathic behavior on the right for probably 4 years, something like that.
Pretty accurate. Also, shout out Milk Bar TV and who's the other guy? Cinema Shogun.
Yeah,
Shotgun
that
Shogun.
Cinema Shogun account on X is awesome, by the way. If you don't want to spend the time burning brain cells listening to Candace Owens, go to his thread because he does a summary, and they're
He's
brilliant.
like, I watched Candace's show today, so you don't have to. Here's what
It's
happened.
brilliant.
Yeah, it's great.
But hat
It's
tip to all
great.
those guys that are bringing
And-
this content to us.
Yes. And before we go, I just want to say I love this chat. You guys are amazing. You guys seriously are the Patriot family. Also, you guys get here before I do, which is crazy. But also on
SK,
top of that,
everybody gets here before you do.
but also on top of that, I think it's great. Like earlier, people were like asking each other questions. They like remember when people are moving and talking about getting new cars and, you know, going on trips and their anniversaries and all kinds of things. And I love it that you guys are becoming a family in the comments too. I think it's great.
That's right. That's right.
Agreed.
Last parting word, folks. The psychopath that Jordan Peterson is talking about are all of the social media influencers that are leading this charge to create a third party of radical leftist and radical right-wing racist to try to destroy this country. And they're doing it behind the political philosophy of Alexander Dugan, somebody who didn't think that Stalin went far enough, didn't think that Hitler went far enough, and Nick Fuentes.
Well, I
There
mean,
it
Nick
is.
Fuentes doesn't think that Hitler went far enough either. So
Yep. That is the foundation for their new party right there.
Yeah. I'm really starting to wonder, actually, if it wasn't Nick Fuentes who turned Tucker onto Alexander Dugan, because Tucker sat down with Fuentes, and then almost immediately following that sit down he had with Fuentes is when Tucker started kind of going off the rails, and then Alexander Dugan's like, all up in Tucker's business, and I'm willing to bet that's where that connection came from.
I actually think that connection goes back further. I think it goes back to the relationships between Candace Owens and John Mappin, and the globalist imperialist, because Alex Dugan is all part of that network. Like John Mappin and Alexander Dugan are best buds.
Mm.
Yep.
Yeah, there's several of them actually, and probably some behavior, psychological manipulation going on, but I digress. Yep. But also, just so you guys are aware in the comments, I'm probably going to be waiting for a phone call from my mother because she listens to this podcast every time it's on. So I'm sure I'm going to get a phone call about today's behavior.
That's right. Hey, SK's mom, can you do me a favor? Can you get her under control, please? Because when I'm doing economic talk, I need her to be engaged and not checked out snoozing on the show.
Not going to happen. She's going to tell you the same thing. Never going to happen.
Important, but it's really important.
Uncontrollable.
All right,
I'm uncontrollable.
Take us out of here.
Good night, guys.
Hey, see y'all.
In the shadows of the Capitol, they're scheming in the night, selling out our freedoms for a pocket full of spite. From the border to the heartland, the wolves are at the door, twisting truth and tearing down what our fathers fought before. But I'm a patriot source, standing tall and true, with a Bible in my hand and old glory flying blue. Ain't apologizing for loving this land. We'll fight the forces of evil with fire in our stand. God bless the USA, we'll never back down. Patriots for freedom.